Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and in this video, we're going to explore Meteor session data, and we're going to be creating our actual second page using our main layout just so we can have two routes to toggle between. Let's get going on that now. Okay, so we talked about the state of React. In fact, we use state inside of our resolutions wrapper. And although we only use state for our subscription, you can use state for all sorts of things, such as like toggling things and just any sort of state that's going to be only seen by the user that's using the site at that given moment, right? So state is going to be really helpful within a component. But like I said, this .state is only within this resolutions wrapper. Now, Meteor also has a way to set state, and it's a session variable. Now, Meteor's session variables are great. In fact, when you toggle this accounts that we've already made here, when you toggle this, we're actually toggling a session variable. We can confirm that by hitting Control M, and check it out. We have all this stuff here. Now, if we check on the right side, we're going to be seeing JetSetter. Now, JetSetter is going to show us all of our session variables. For instance, we have drop-down visible set to false. Watch what happens when I click this. It sets to true. So this is being used as a session variable. Now, what's cool about session variables in Meteor is they are site-wide. Now, session variables will last the entire session the entire time a user is using a website. For instance, if we were to refresh this page, you will see that the session variable goes away. So using session variables is a great way to handle things like menu toggles, where you maybe click this menu and it opens up somewhere else. And you can create your own session variables in Meteor and access them with React. So don't think that you can't use session variables when you're using React. Now, let's go ahead and show you what I mean here. So let's go ahead and first make the about page. And now let's head to routes.jsx and let's create a new route simply just by copying this route, pasting this in here, and now we can say about. Cool, let's go ahead and just use the about component. We're still going to be using the main layout. Let's come up here and import from, we had resolutions wrapper. Let's go ahead and just import about from, and then in a string, we have the same folder and then about.jsx. Okay. So check it out. We already have this link in our navigation to go to about when you click this. So let's go ahead and come to Sublime Text, and inside of client, we'll just make a new file just inside of the root for client. We can just call this about.jsx. Usually I'll have a folder that's like pages or something like that, or I can put all of my individual pages, but this is just fine here. We can, once again, as always, import React and comma, brackets, component. Actually, you know what? I keep typing this every time, but really when I really work in React, I'm always just copying this line. So let's just copy and paste this from another one. Save us some time in typing, right? So from here, we can also copy another line, such as this export default class in our class name. So like so, we can now have this just be about. Okay, now we want to render, return. And inside of here, let's just really, I'm just going to have a div because we need a container, remember. And let's just go ahead and have a single h1, see about us, okay, h1. And now let's just have a paragraph in here. Now this is just going to be like this, okay, paragraph. Inside of here, I'm going to grab some hipster ipsum. And you'll notice we have some green text here. If we were to save this and head to our about page, let's check this out. You can see it's working totally fine. We have our about page. We can now click resolutions, about. Cool. So we actually have a working route despite actually creating our router so many videos ago. So let's go ahead and now let's add a button. I'm just going to say button here, and button. Now, what's going to be fun about this is you're going to get to see just how session and site wide this is. This is going to just say, click me. Okay. And let's come back here. We have our click me button. Now, what I want this click me button to do is I want this to toggle something on this page. So we're going to actually just toggle a value on this page, and it's literally just going to pop up here. But it's going to show you that this session variable is totally site-wide. So let's go ahead, and what we can do is have an onClick function, onClick, and equals brackets, and now we can say this dot. Now we can just say set var, and you'll notice that we're not having a dot bind in here, because we're not actually passing this into this function. We're not going to having to be using any sort of context here. We're just simply setting a Meteor session variable. So now we can say set var parentheses brackets, and check it out. We can use Meteor session variable system simply by saying session.set, and we can pass it two strings. The first string is going to be the key, so the key will be just test. So the key will just be test, comma, and the value is going to be the actual value. So we can just say something like hello. Okay. What's cool about Meteor and React is we now have access to the session everywhere. So coming to our, let's go to our main wrapper. Above any of this stuff, let's just do it. I'm going to do a hyphen here inside of my resolutions, and I'm going to put some JavaScript brackets in here. And you'll remember we now have access to use JavaScript, so we can access Meteor's own session system by saying session.get, and now we simply just need the key, which was test. So we can get the session variable test. Let's go back to our site, and if we head to resolutions, you'll see my resolutions hyphen absolutely nothing. We come to about, we click me, set to resolutions. Now we get resolutions.hello. Now this is easily observable within, if we do Control M, I'm actually going to refresh this page so we can have a blank. You can do Control M and see there's nothing in session. We click me, and test is now saved in session regardless of where we clicked around here. Cool, so this is really super cool. Now let's go ahead and click this, and you'll see that we have this Meteor Dialog and buttons drop down visible. Now there's actually a way to toggle this a little bit different, but we can actually come in here and set this variable here to whatever we want, meaning that we can set up a proxy trigger for this login situation over here. Let's say we had a homepage button and you wanted to say, I want to log into your site, and we could just basically have that button here. You'd click it and it could open this for us. So we want to have meteor.loginbuttons.dropdown visible. Let's go ahead to our session variables and set this meteor.login buttons I think it's drop down visible, okay? And we want to set this value to a Boolean, which is true. Okay, and now let's change this on click to sign up. And let's head back to our site. Let's give this a hard refresh, because when Meteor automatically updates, it doesn't reset the session variable. So just by doing a command R, you can see it resets this. So you can imagine we're on the home page and you need a sign up button. We could click sign up and it automatically toggles us. Now, depending on how you have this styled, you could have something maybe that's full screen or whatever. Either way, we now have a button that will take you to directly opening up the sign up link simply by just setting a session variable. And we have seen now that you can set session variables across different components and even across different pages, which in reality are just different components. Now, session variables aren't a per user. So the cool thing about React is if you had a text box and you were adding resolutions, and let's say everybody had the same sort of abilities to see all of the resolutions, and I added one and you added one, we would see them both update in real time on the screen. But what's not true about that is with sessions. If you have a session variable and you set a session variable, the only person that's going to see that is the user currently using the site. Cool. So these are session variables in Meteor. Keep in mind, they are globally namespaced. So if you want something that's locked into your component, use React's state. If you want something global, use Meteor's session. Cool, so we now have set sessions, and we've used sessions to set functionality that already exists within Meteor. And we've learned that you can use Control-M if you're using Meteor Tools, which is a package we installed earlier, to have access to JetSetter that allows you to see all of your session variables and what they're set to nice and easily. Cool, so in the next video, I'm going to show you a package by a good friend of mine who runs the Meteor Chef, and this package is called BERT. It allows you to show really nice, easy, good-looking error messages on your site quickly and easily with a single package. So, as always, this is Scott with Level Up Tutorials. If you want to view the rest of these videos along with some content that's not released on YouTube, like server-side rendering, React Router, deploying your site to Galaxy, and deploying your site to DigitalOcean, you can head to store.leveluptutorials.com and purchase that or subscribe to stream those videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.